All right, folks, welcome to DragonWorks. 1984 Honda CB700SC. Some of you will recognize this bike because it was just here a couple months ago. For those who don't know, the customer had it at another shop down in Virginia, spent $3,200 for a top end rebuild, carb rebuild, brake work, a whole bunch of stuff. And well, make a long story short, they did a terrible job, and some stuff they didn't even do that they charged him for. When it got here, it was running pretty rough. Mainly, I was running on choke there just to keep it running to check. It had massive oil leaks, and the customer was a little worried about the workmanship, so wanted me to check it over. It was running so bad I couldn't even test ride it. You can check out the other videos for this, and some of you already know about all this. I'll sum it up real quick. I did a compression test on it. Number 4 cylinder, barely had any compression. Number 4 carb was overflowing like crazy. But yeah, the air box is full of gas. Guys, this is just the residual gas dripping out of that air box. So what you guys didn't see was then the customer asked me to tear the motor down and see what the heck was going on. And that's when I found some shoddy work and found out that there was some stuff they either didn't do at all or just did a terrible job of it. But his main reason, or his main problem, was the valves were so carboned up. Some carbon had broke loose and got in between the seat and the valve and was holding the valve open. So, okay guys, about to do a leak down test here on this number 4 cylinder. That way it gives me a little bit of a direction to look, because you could lose compression with this thousandth of an inch of something wrong, and you can't really always see that with your eye. So this will give me an indication if it's valve related or ring related, and or could be both. Anyway, I got this intake valve closed here, so there's no pressure. The cool thing about these Nighthawks, they got hydraulic valves, so there's no adjustment. But sometimes, you know, somebody reassembling it could get something wrong. It might be holding the valve open. But anyway, I know something's going on here, so let's look at what we got. It doesn't take much pressure at all. Oh, let me look here. It doesn't take much pressure at all to hear this thing to start leaking. As soon as I crack it, look, only 5 PSI. You can already hear it. Let me get my hand off the microphone and I'll crank it up. Listen. So I've only got 25 PSI in here, and yeah, that's not good. So we definitely got intake here. Listen, it is like I could barely hold my hand over it. That's how much air is coming out. So it wasn't seating, and it had no compression. That was the main thing, and I think it was caused by that number 4 carb that was overflowing into that cylinder, broke up some of that carbon, and that's probably how it happened, because at one time it was actually running somewhat decent. This bike's not even had 10 miles on it since they did all that work. I think the customer said he rode it like 6 miles, and in the shop supposedly rode it a couple miles or whatever. So it didn't even have 10 miles on it, and then the bike wouldn't even run anymore. So I've already started doing some of the stuff. I'm just kind of doing a little recap video and another introduction type thing. I've already rebuilt the head. I cleaned all the valves up meticulously, cleaned all the carbon off the valves, cleaned up the valve seats themselves, the head surface, lapped the valves really good. You can see the little gray band there on the valves and on the valve seats where they've been precision lapped to assure a tight fit. I got new rings for it and gaskets, all the goodies. So next week we'll be putting this thing together. Then I'll have to figure out what's going on with them carbs. I got some gaskets and stuff for them so I can get them apart and get them checked out. And we will get this thing up and running perfectly if we can. We're hoping. It's a high mile bike, so we're kind of at our limits here with the cylinders, but should still be fine. Oh, sorry about the glare. It never fails, right? 52. Oh man, it's terrible here today. 52,543. All right, guys. Stay tuned. There's been several of you asking about this bike, so you're going to be happy to know. I told you it was coming back. I just had to wait. I couldn't get the guy back in. You know, he left, and I usually am booked up for a couple months, so he had to end up waiting his turn because I already had people that I'd promised. So, yeah, here we are. All right. I'll see you guys on the next video. We'll get to work.